Hello, Fiona.
Hello, T. Hello, T. Hello,
Yep.
T. There's me, T.
I'm on another Westminster Orange from Oldie this week.
All right, and it's not this oldie, it's oldie. It's the shop. Friend of little. You're little, I'm oldie. So, too
Oh,
easy.
supermarket humour.
Based on phonology and pronunciation. Well, my tea is linked to what we're talking about this week. This is what I'm drinking this week. Yeah, it was I do not randomly buy tea just based on the topics, but I had a tea advent calendar this year and there was one sachet of it, or two actually, two tea bags of this in it, and I really liked it, so I bought the box.
Oh, fab.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
So,
sort of citrusy, it's nice. Mm.
oh, nice.
And it's Bird and Blend. I can never get their name right. Bird and Blend tea. There we go.
Fabulous. Uh, yes, Mr. Happy, how does he relate to this week's topic?
Well, tea. It's CBeebies week. No.
They're all singing, all dancing for
I
your tea.
know. Well, T, over to you. Yeah, no, we were going to talk about teaching young learners, and but as sort of at a not an in-depth level today because we're going to have other episodes dealing with stories and with games and stuff. So it's a sort of an overview, isn't it?
Yes, as many of our episodes have been so far. We're
So far, yes, but
coming
we
back to
will.
deep dives. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we get all excited about what we're talking about. That's why.
Yeah.
Anyway, T, would you like to remind me how we met?
So we met when back in 2004, I came to Seville to do my Teaching Young Learner course at Click in Seville.
Yeah, Click is also known as IH Seville, is part of the IH group. Yeah,
And you were one of my tutors.
exactly. That was it. So, and you were, and I consistently say, one of the most outstanding trainees I ever had. I can't say the most because there might be others watching, but
Ah.
but yeah. Yes, and we've stayed in touch. And at that time, the Young Learner Certificate, you had to sort of focus on three different levels. Was it each TP group did two levels? It doesn't really matter.
Yep,
But the
yep.
fact that it
So
was divided into three levels was significant. Three age
mhm.
groups. Which do you prefer? Do you remember what they were?
Uh, if I remember correctly, you taught us with the seven to nines, was it?
I can't remember because the one group that I never trained on was the middle age group because I'm not that keen. Um, Not against the children themselves, but it's a stage of development, cognitive development, that boys and girls are so different in this. Some people, I mean, I don't mind it, but it's not my favorite. So I would have trained you on either the younger ones, yeah, the sixes to the kind of the learning to reads one,
Yeah,
or the teens. But I really don't remember. It's quite a while ago now.
I should revisit my notes because I do still have them.
It would either have been the older group or the younger group.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
yeah.
Possibly the youngest, yeah.
I think I remember you was the youngest.
Probably, yeah, the
Um,
six, seven, eights. That's the learning to read, learning to write age group. And
mhm.
it's I really enjoy that age group.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. I don't teach them now and I miss it. I love it.
what is
Yeah.
it you miss about that age group?
Um, oh, I don't know, the potential, the sense of joy, the honesty, the kids are not always honest. They pretend that they didn't steal your pen or didn't pull their neighbor's hair or whatever it is. But I mean honesty in the sense of you know what they're feeling.
Yeah,
You know who's sad, who's happy, very responsive. I also, and this is going to sound odd, you might remember I always train, do stuff on the floor, stuff at the table, and stuff standing up. And I love that myself. I love to get on the floor, crawl around, have kids climbing on your back, pretending that you're a horse or whatever it is. I love story time. Sitting on the floor. I used to have yoga mats, just cheap
The
ones, but
foamy, yeah.
yeah, we'd have them rolled up in the corner and we'd unroll them, we'd sit on the floor, and the kids would like sit on me quite often as we read a storybook and at the end of every lesson. And yeah, I think joy is the word for it. Just I love teaching teens, absolutely love it, but it's different. It's a different range of emotions and physiological things kick in as well in teenage years. That means that some students will be having bad days more often than, yeah, I just,
I mean, I think this is the kind of part of the issue that quite often people who come into English language teaching, um, they will have done kind of, your Cert TESOL,
mm,
CELTA equivalents, unless they're going into teaching in mainstream education, in which case it's much more specialized,
yeah,
but they've come from this environment of working with adults, and then quite often when you get your first language school job, you're
these little
expected to
kids,
be
I
able to
know.
manage
What
all
is
these
the other
different age
thing? I
groups.
mean, you can tell me about what your sort of preferred junior age group is, but you hear so many teachers saying, "Oh, I've got to teach kids," or "Oh, I've got to teach teens." But there's so many different sub-age groups within those terms. It's completely different. Teaching 6-year-olds or 5-year-olds and teaching 10-year-olds.
Mhm.
Loosely labeled as kids, but it's two different worlds. And it's the same
And
with teens, 13, 14, 15, and then 17 to 19,
but then even
worlds apart.
within an age group,
Mm.
no two classes are ever the same. You might get one group
No,
who are like there's a particular vibe and they all gel and they enjoy everything that you throw at
exactly. This is
them.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess I mean, it's not laziness. It's, I don't know how to describe it, but the reason I don't particularly enjoy that 10, 11, 12 bit is partly because boys and girls, the girls are like young adults almost. So they're very much, not all, but the majority are sort of moving into the teen sort of mentality, or at least some of them are. And then the other end of the scales, you get the younger sort of cognitively ones who are having silly jokes about, I don't know, poo and pee and bottoms and stuff. And it's like, and juggling the top end of the change and the bottom end of the change while trying to teach some English and keep control and keep parents happy. And yeah, and it's usually at about 5 p.m. as well. So, like,
Mm. Yeah, I
so
think.
that's, yeah, too much juggling, basically.
And I feel my issue, not my issue, one thing I find tricky about teaching that age group is their interests or what topics to do. I feel like with younger
Well, I think
learners,
that's it.
you
Exactly. You go
can,
from teddy bears and
yeah.
all the
And
way
in
up to,
teens, they've got their particular passions. But around that age group, I don't know, I feel things are either kind of too childish or a little bit too mature or
well, I think that's it, isn't it? Yeah. It's trying to find a topic that appeals to the whole age group. And I say it sounds lazy, I know, but I also know. I mean, there's some teachers are very good at it,
yeah.
and I consider I'm pretty damn good at teaching teens. I'm pretty good at teaching the littles as well. But that middly group, we've all got an Achilles
Yep,
heel,
yep. Know your
and
strength.
that's mine. Nobody's good at everything.
Hmm.
Um, nobody's brilliant, or maybe nobody's brilliant at anything. I don't know, but we're all good at something.
Hmm.
And we're
Yeah.
all less good at something. So my less good area is definitely the kind of when they're like 8-ish to about 12, 12 on and up, I'm okay with. The ones
Hmm.
that get called grotty teens, for example, I love that. I love teaching that age group. I'm not particularly keen on the threes, fours, because that's not really teaching. Um,
I mean, like you say, I don't have a problem with the very young learners if I can just kind of
mm,
jump around the classroom, sing songs. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm
I'll
quite
tell you
happy.
something now. Sorry, just thinking about this. Ding! Something that has shifted a lot in training, and really in the last couple of years, 2 years, 3 years maybe, since the pandemic anyway. Something that used to be really, really important in young learner training, but was pretty much not touched on for adults, and now is the buzzword almost in adults, is rapport. Even in the, sorry, that certificate that you did. I remember failing people for lack of rapport. Not failing them, but they wanted a distinction basically, and they didn't get it because although they were technically very good and they had read all the research and ticked all the boxes in one of the main criteria for getting distinction in the certificate was the ability to build a strong rapport with children,
Hmm.
build a
Hmm.
relationship with them, so that children felt safe, comfortable, etc. And that would be the thing that would be, people would be missing if the ones
Hmm.
who didn't get their distinction, that was the big difference between a pass and a distinction.
Yeah.
Um, and at that time in the adult, the training to teach adults, there was something about rapport, but it was very kind of academic. It was a bit, and it wasn't part of the assessment.
Yeah.
There was something about, I can't remember exactly, but it was very different. It was, yes, to get the group to gel and work together, whatever, but this sense of creating almost like a family in the room that wasn't there. And
And I think,
nowadays, of course,
yeah.
everybody's talking about it.
And I think, for us as generally after school teachers, for
Mm.
me, that's still very much my role. Um, that's actually really tricky to kind of, you see these small people twice a week, whereas when they're in their
And you
mainstream
see them when they're
schools,
tired after school and they don't
yeah,
want to do.
yeah. And
Yeah,
and then, these other relationships that they're building with their teachers, they're spending 6 hours, 5 days a week with them.
yeah,
So yes, I think it is important that we do things to make them feel like
yeah.
it's not just a subject, it's something that they enjoy, a place where they feel safe to learn
It
as
was all
well.
the stuff we were talking about last week about oxytocin. Um, to an extent, we're talking about it nowadays, not just you and me, we, the
Mm,
profession, are talking about this, still very much thinking about adults and how to push young learners. Most of the research is done on adults just because for ethical reasons mainly, and because of the amount of paperwork involved when you have to have adults, parents, guardians signing. Um, but it has always been an issue. Well, this is what I'm saying. It's always been an issue in young learner teaching and classrooms. And I think, you know, all the young learner teachers, the teachers that specialize in young learners, are probably streets ahead of people who specialize in adults. And a lot, and this is going to sound really mean, but a lot of the, not researchers, but some of the people sort of promoting ideas nowadays about, oh, we need to be humans in the classroom and whatnot. Well, shoulders of giants, because I think all these teachers who've been working with younger kids, they've known that forever. It's like
mm, yeah.
it's
And I
it's
think,
the it's the ones who specialize in teaching adults who've been slow on the uptake, let's face it.
but I
But
think
also, of
that's
course,
it.
nowadays we do have the neuroscience to back it up. It's not
Hmm.
just, it's sort of backed up by research, but it's, most teachers around the world know this.
And that's it as well. Like when you meet someone who thrives on teaching young learners, I'm thinking like one of my
Yeah,
colleagues, Natalie, it was her ballpark. It was where she was most comfortable. Someone else like Vanessa Riley, these are people that they're so passionate about what they do.
yeah. I was
You
thinking
can
of
just
Vanessa too.
tell
Yeah,
that being in their classroom,
Yeah.
for the kids, it's just it's where they want to be, both with
Yeah,
teachers
no,
and
there's
for
a
the
few,
children
and
as
the
well.
people like Anna Pires were slightly older than, not the younger primary, but the kind of younger teens, perhaps. Yeah, I mean, it's about passion, isn't it? I think you probably have to have a sort of a stronger passion, if there is such a thing, when you're teaching children to really enjoy it than adults, because adults you can kind of check out a bit in a sense. You plan, you go in, you teach, you go out. It is important, but adults will. Well, that's what I was saying earlier about being honest with their emotions.
Hmm. Hmm.
Adults will, they might challenge you out of class and they might go and complain about you to the boss. But in the room, children are much harder to get to control, to sit, sit down. There's a bit more with children.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, I'm not suggesting it's easier to teach adults, but it is different. And I
Hmm.
think that passion for the actual teaching is possibly more tangible in teachers who teach younger kids and teenagers.
Yeah.
Adult teachers will often be passionate about the teaching, the kind of technical aspect of the teaching rather than the people in the room. This sounds
Mm.
like I'm really demeaning people. I'm just explaining myself very badly, that's all. Do you know what I mean?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I think eh,
It's like
although,
falling in love with people versus falling in love with teaching.
hmm, hmm,
So for the younger kids, I think you're perhaps more in love with the people, the little mini people or whatever.
hmm,
And like me with my teaching, I love teaching. I also love teens. I'm sort of in the middle age group. And then adults, people who excel at teaching adults are perhaps in love with teaching, shall we say. It's not
mm,
quite the same.
yeah,
I don't
yeah. I
know.
mean, I
I'm
guess,
probably,
y- yeah. I think at any age, people will respond to the passion that you bring to
yeah,
the classroom, but
exactly. Yeah.
perhaps it's more necessary with certain age groups. Going back to the teens, I
Yeah.
think that if you go into the classroom and you want to be there as a teacher,
Yes.
that's, it the students can feel
Exactly.
that.
And your passion for your subject will transfer.
Hmm.
I think perhaps and maybe it's to do with motivation. Maybe it's because adults are generally they're more often in the room because they themselves are motivated to be there.
Hmm.
Aha. Okay, now I know what I was talking about before. I worked it out. If you survived the video this far, I have just realized what I meant. Because adults are almost self-motivated. Sometimes it's for companies, but generally speaking, an adult has got more self-motivation to be in the room in the first place and to learn,
Hmm.
whereas kids and teens are being put there. So,
Yep.
so
Yep.
you have to develop a slightly stronger bond between the teacher and the student with teens and kids.
And
I think
this,
that's where
you,
it's a slightly different passion. That's what I mean about passion about
mm,
people, and also the subject, but the people thing. Whereas with adults, you can perhaps get away with just being passionate about the subject and the teaching rather than
mhm.
the connecting with people element of it.
There's a really good episode of another podcast, a rival, dun, dun, dun. But the Learn Your English podcast, and it was Sarah Mercer talking about the distinction between motivation and engagement. And she was
Uh-huh.
saying motivation, we as teachers have no control over that.
No, this is it.
We can't motivate our students. We can engage them, and then hopefully that will encourage them to
You can
engage with the
influence their
learning.
motivation. We
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
motivate. Yes.
Exactly.
Mm.
So she was saying, perhaps we need to move away from this idea of what do you do to motivate your student, but rather what do you do to engage them? And then that comes back to kind of knowing what topics work and building those relationships
Yeah.
and things like that.
It is to motivate somebody in the sense of to encourage their motivation
Mm,
or to grow their motivation, literally to water it, feed it,
mhm,
and then grow just as much as a plant grows by itself in a sense. It does the growing,
mhm.
but we feed it, we nurture it, and therefore we say we grow vegetables. Well, so, but it's what I mean is it's
Yeah,
comparable to say that
yeah,
we motivate students in the sense, no, they motivate themselves, but we water them and feed
yeah.
them and
Give them
keep them protected
sunlight.
from exactly, but not too much. Yeah, exactly. This is it. Well, this is it. Not too much
Mm,
dopamine. Yeah. Um, and one of the means by which we can do that is by engaging them.
mhm, mhm,
But there are other means as well. Keeping them feeling safe is another one, for example.
mhm.
Um, so I would slightly disagree with Sarah, much as I love her, that, but again, it comes down to semantics. But I do think that we can actively motivate or grow the motivation of our students
I may have
via.
misquoted her, by the way, so apologies, Sarah, if I did misunderstand your point. But
No, I mean, I I won't see that webinar. I thought it was fairly recent, a podcast or something. Um, I think, I think I agree in as much as to talk about always go, we've got to motivate, we've got to motivate, we've got to motivate. It's not so much, it's not easy. Motivation
mhm,
is many things.
mm,
So you can't just motivate. You have to
yeah,
decide which element. And it's the same with children. I think like small kids and teenagers particularly. It's the same with adults, but adults, it's harder to influence them on the feeling safe in the room thing. Because adults have a lot more baggage when they come in, a lot more emotional baggage. If they don't like that person because of that person's shoes, for example, you're not going to be able to change that because you
mhm,
don't know what previous experience they've had with people with that kind of shoes and blah blah. With children, it's easier to make them feel safe and then feel like they're in a space where they can say what they want. They can, cry if they need to cry, whatever. And even more so teens, because kids will do that anyway. And teens are the ones that need to really feel that they're in a place where they're going to be encouraged. If they make a mistake, nobody's going to laugh at them. Nobody's going to be mean to them. They're going to be supported,
yeah,
not just scaffolded, but almost held up until they feel like they can. And I say not scaffolded because scaffolding is a metal thing that you put on, and I mean literally, held. Well, like teaching somebody to swim.
mhm,
Whereas adults, it's harder because you can do so much,
mhm.
but you don't know what they're bringing into the room. Um, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so motivation it's a lot more than just let's motivate. It's looking at the different age groups and seeing, well, it's needs, isn't it?
Mhm.
As well as language needs, we have emotional needs, we have motivational needs. Again, we have the performance and the mastery. We've got a lot of people think in terms of performance, but actually we should try to get them to see the value of mastery, performance, passing, like my students at the moment, passing the IELTS. It's like, well, if you're going to learn to read English, don't just read to pass an exam. That is performance. Learn to read, to enjoy reading and to absorb vocabulary and whatever from it, not just pass exams. So yeah, it's different needs, emotional as well as language. We've kind of moved away from kids here.
We have. Well, and we're almost at well, I think we are probably. We've had our kind of 20-minute cuppa. So yeah, let us know in the comments. Do you have a favorite age group to work with? Anything you'd like to add about how to make
Yeah.
students feel safe in the classroom and
Or
these?
within the age groups, which sub-age group
Mm,
do you like teaching? The teeny weenies, the preschools, or the 6-year-olds learning to read and write? That's the ones I love, 6 and 7. Or the
mhm.
10-year-olds with the challenge of choosing a topic.
Yeah. Or let
And
us
what
know
about
which ones you
online?
definitely don't enjoy as well.
And online gives tips for online.
Fantastic. Well, we'll be back again next week. So leave a comment, like and subscribe, all the usual, and we'll see you again next week.
We'll try to squash a topic into 20 minutes. See you
Bye
next
bye.
week.